Hi, Grant. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. Could you please introduce yourself? Tell us about your background, like what you're working on, that type of stuff
Yeah,
for people listening to this.
yeah. My name's Grant Forrest. I'm a founding engineer at With Labs, which is a company that started right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic,
Yeah,
and we are currently making a product called PopStage. And PopStage is a platform for virtual workshops and training programs. And the idea behind it is to make to move on from the very general use video platforms, which can be very constricting, can feel very flat, and create an interactive experience which lives up to the needs of workshops in a digital space. So we want to create an experience for everyone involved that feels very hands-on, that gives you, the kind of treatment that you expect from a high-quality workshop.
got it. And maybe can you tell us more about like how people can find out about PopStage? Like, is there a Twitter account, a website, or something like that if people want to try it out or learn more about it?
Yeah, we've got Twitter and we've got a website at popstage.com.
Cool,
You can
sweet.
find the all of the information there.
Sweet, that's cool. Thanks. And can you tell us about like how you've been using Liveblocks for PropStage? Curious to learn more about the integration there and why you decided to use Liveblocks.
Yeah, so we've been a company for a while. We've been building different products, and a lot of our products, of course, have focused on interaction and being together. And so
Yeah,
we've always been interested in WebSockets, in live communication as a technology, and we've previously done a lot of work on our own servers for that. And so for this new product, we wanted to accelerate our development. We wanted to get to market pretty quickly. And we are already aware that there's a large number of problems in that space that need to be solved. And so we're really excited to find Liveblocks. Basically, we've adopted that as the entire layer for our real-time communications. So we're using the presence part of the product, we're using the
right.
storage, and we basically have built on top of that to very quickly provide that layer of like very interactive behaviors for our workshops that we've needed. So this kind of goes hand in hand with, we also of course have audio and video
Yeah.
connections. um, I don't know what else to say about it.
No, that's
That's all very general, but
no, that's pretty helpful. I think it would be helpful for people to see the product and kind of see how it works. But generally, you have this like editor where you prepare your workshop and how that's gonna look like for the attendees.
yeah.
That's right.
There's
And
two
then you have
there's
like
two sides
yeah,
of it, right? So we have the editor, which has some live presence. We love
got it.
that, like, because our workshop data is built in live blocks. The same live model that is used to run the presenter and like that all the participants interact with is the same one that we're editing on the other
Got it.
side when you're doing the planning. So
Gotcha.
our editor can be just as live as our presenter, and that's really just for
Yeah.
free. That's great. So the editor is where you plan out your agenda, you create all these activities. We have various activities. We have like
Yep.
whiteboards. We have
Yeah.
places where you can kind of move yourself around. Like if you can imagine in a live workshop, you would have in a room, you'd say, all the introverts to the left and all the
Yep.
extroverts to the right. So those sort of self-sorting things that can work in a digital space.
Yep.
And so you order those activities into agenda, kind of gives you a rough idea of what you're going to do in your workshop. And then when you go live, you have that agenda available. You can move people around. Uh, it just creates a more natural feeling
I see.
experience than just being on a video
On the
call, right?
Yeah, yeah, because you can tell the experience, especially for like what you're trying to achieve from that
Yeah,
workshop. I think what's really cool about PopStage and I guess the integration with Liveblocks for PopStage more specifically is that you have so many different tools inside of PopStage in a way, right? It's not just like a whiteboard tool. It's not just like a place where you can have like a little survey or something like that. You have all those things. And I remember when I saw the product, I thought it was really cool to see that you were able to use Liveblocks for all of those use cases.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I was curious to hear more like about maybe can you tell us more about the integration itself and like how technically it's built like because I think we're gonna have a lot of developers listening to this. So like, what stack do you use? How did
Yeah.
you integrate live blocks? All that sort of stuff would be interesting to know.
Yeah. So another, I mean, to divert a little bit, but another big win for us was that we have a almost entirely serverless platform for our own part of the app now. So all of our business logic, we built the app in Next.js, so
Yep.
React, and we have a small GraphQL API that runs in a serverless function, and then the rest is basically just calling out to Liveblocks or our audio video provider.
Yep.
So uh, we have on the technical level, like the data is structured so that a workshop is its own like presence container in
Yep.
Liveblocks. So
Right.
everyone connects to the workshop, everyone sees each other, we all have presence together, and then the moderators drive the workshop by advancing to the next agenda item. So they control that high level, like which room are you in, basically.
Right.
And then each individual room is also a Liveblocks room, and so
Right.
each individual room could be a whiteboard, it could be a poll, it could just be a video chat. And so the workshop level of that room kind of coordinates all the participants and
Yeah.
tells them which rooms to join.
Got it.
And of course, that also makes it easy to do things like breakout rooms, which are a really important feature in a workshop. You
Yeah.
just say like, okay, these 4 participants connect to this Livebox room, but we're all still in the same global workshop presence together. So
Gotcha.
there's different levels of interactivity and different levels of live connectivity throughout the application.
Got it.
And I will say Livebox made that just really simple for us. Um, it was,
That's awesome to hear.
yeah, it was really seamless to integrate that. And one of the things I like is that, like you said, we have a lot of different activities.
Yep.
We're going to want to come up with more activities. And it's the kind of primitives that you've given us, like just list, map, and object. Like, what else do you need? But those allow us to express a lot of different states, and it's very easy to iterate on those states. So we can, tweak the the poll to change how votes are stored, and that's almost like a sort of almost like a serverless database kind of feel where
Yeah.
sorry, not serverless database. It's sort of almost like a NoSQL database kind of feel where
Yeah.
you have a lot of flexibility. It doesn't really require like a lot of migrating or other things.
I
And
see.
so that's really been helpful for us iterating on our ideas quickly.
Got it. So I think when you showed me the product, like the first time we chatted, I thought I was quite impressed by like how much you built. And yeah, do you think? I guess that's a pretty targeted question in a way, but like, do you think Liveblocks was was helpful, like helping you work or like focus on like those experiences and those core features? Do you think you would have been able to do as much? I guess is my question. If you had
Yeah,
not, if you had to build all your own like sort of collaboration infrastructure yourself in
yeah,
house. Yeah.
a targeted question, but you totally earned it. It's been
Thanks.
it's been pivotal in making sure that we can iterate quickly. Like I said, we had experience building our own live WebSocket based interactions before,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of bike shedding about what is the protocol going to look like, and how do we every single thing we do we have to write a message type for it and then
Right.
figure out how it gets reconciled in the back end. And we also looked at things like peer-to-peer CRDTs where everybody just connects and we all share our data in YJS, and those have their own drawbacks, which I'd be happy to talk about. But yeah, both of those would have just required a lot of domain knowledge for these low level ideas
I
that
see.
were so far from what we were trying to build. Like what we
Yeah.
really just wanted was exactly what we got. It's data, everyone shares it. You make a change to the object, it gets replicated there. You're good to go. Have fun.
Thank you. That's great. That's great to hear. Yeah, I'd be curious to hear more about the, because you said you explore like doing, and you've built some of that stuff yourself on like previous products, but like
Yeah.
um what are the drawbacks of like peer to peer? Like, because there's different ways to build this, right? You could, the way we do it at LifeBlocks, we have this, I guess, centralized server that allows you to like share the state between all the different users. It's very easy to use. There are a lot of benefits to that. Um, but what made you decide going with like a solution like Liveblocks where you have a centralized server versus a peer-to-peer
Yeah.
solution. Curious to learn more about
Yeah. So
this.
I think peer to peer is a very exciting concept and technology. For one, it's cheaper. Like you just have the clients connect to each other, but like uh, there's permissions things that get tricky with that, especially when it comes to if some of your users have privileges that others don't. So in a workshop setting, we have moderators, and moderators need to be able to control and understand more state than participants do. And so we wanted to, for the most part, we don't think there's going to be like bad actors necessarily, but we want to be able to control that experience a little bit. And we want to be able to trust that, if someone says they're a moderator, they have access to the mod chat, for instance. We want to make sure
Got
the
it.
mod chat stays private um, from the participants. But what I really appreciate about having a central server that's kind of mediating things is
Yeah.
that, especially when we connect to it in Liveblocks, of course, you have your original transaction where you get access to the room
Yeah.
allows you to from our server we understand that somebody is a moderator, is a participant, so
Yep.
we encode that into the token that we give them to access the room. And now, whenever you connect to somebody else in that room and they say they're a moderator, you can trust that they really are a moderator according to our system.
I see.
And that's, we've encoded additional metadata in there that help us out. And that's
Yeah.
been very good as well.
That's good to hear. That's I guess a question I had as well, like around, because I know you've set very specific permissions and like authentication for your use case. Like, I know you talked about that a little bit, but can you dive a little bit deeper into that and how you actually build this with Liveblocks?
Yeah. If I can keep it all in my head, sometimes it does
I
get a little
mean,
complicated on
it's
our
probably a
end.
lot, but like, yeah, at a high level.
Yeah. So I mean, we do have we have different ways to authenticate in the app because the app
Yeah.
essentially has two different faces. There's the internal face for authenticated users who have signed up and have an account and are paying for it,
Yeah.
and then there are all of those participants that you invite to your workshop. You don't want to have to sign up; just click a button to enter the room and you're good.
Right.
And so we have both of those. We have basically an abstraction over that, so we have an understanding of just an authenticated user, and they might be an anonymous user, they might be a logged in user, um, and we were just basically able to easily kind of dovetail that straight into our authentication endpoint for Liveblocks.
I see.
So in Liveblocks we create our own API endpoint which mediates the
Exactly.
transaction of joining a room and getting that permission. So it's very easy for us, like even if it's an anonymous client, like it doesn't have to tell us that it's anonymous, and we don't have to trust that it's anonymous. Likewise, it can't tell us that it's a moderator, and we don't have to trust that. Like
I see.
our backend knows that the client doesn't have a logged in cookie, for example,
Yep.
and so it just seamlessly encodes that information in the token, and we're good from there. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that
Nice.
fully answers the
I think that's
technical
completely
depth of the
answer there. I think
question.
it's something some people ask us sometimes, like how would you implement your own security for users and stuff like that. And I thought it
Oh
was
yeah,
interesting
it's
to hear your story from that point of view. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we just used what we already had.
Yeah.
We use both like a JWT stored on the client
Got it.
for
Yeah.
anonymous users, and we use a cookie for logged in users, and
Nice.
both of those integrated perfectly.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And yeah, I was curious as well. Do you have any? I know we've talked a lot about the technical side of things mostly so far.
Yeah,
I was curious to hear about the impact of Liveblocks on you, on your team, on PopStage as a business. I know it's still pretty early. You're still like building a lot of the stuff, and you're, I believe, still in beta at the moment. But I wonder if, yeah, is there any impact that you could share Liveblocks has had on you, on your
like on
team,
on our
or even
thinking,
Pops?
on our
Yeah, it could
yeah.
be
I mean,
anything.
there's
Like,
all
could be.
sorts of levels of impact, right? So I think a big impact for us is just like being a very small startup. Uh, you know, pivoting pretty quickly between some different ideas until we found this one that we're really excited about.
Yeah,
Just having the opportunity to like basically pick up off the shelf like live real time data integration is huge. I mean, I've said this before, but like uh, as a small team that needs to move fast and focus on a lot of different things, it's an accelerator to get us into this like product space that we normally might not have been able to access, because we would have been too bogged down on the technical work of
I
making
see.
the real time data work, and it would have just taken too long or cost too much money. Just having that available as a software as a service is really, I think, revolutionary, and I'm really excited about the space.
Oh, that's really awesome to hear. And yeah, I know you're quite present on the community Discord that we have. You've shared a lot of feedback with the team about like some features you wanted, or even some bugs that you found, or improvements that we could add to the product. I was curious to get your feedback, or any thoughts you have on like interacting with the team, and if we've been able to listen and implement some of the stuff you've asked for.
Yeah,
Curious
yeah.
how that experience
No, the
was.
team has been great. It's going to sound like you've coached me on these answers, but no, like I say this to my team all the time. Like, yeah, like, okay, we have this question or this issue. I'll just, throw it in the Discord, and I'm sure they'll get back to me. Like, they've been very responsive. Yeah, I both appreciate like how responsive the Liveblocks team has been, but also the depth of knowledge that you have, not just about like the real time aspect, but also, as a React developer, it's nice to be able to talk to people about like, hey, like maybe we could use React context, and like maybe we could
Yeah,
use suspense. And it's like, all right, what do you think about that? We can have this conversation about those tools. I found it's great. It's exciting, and it's nice to have the products like respond so quickly to the things that we've discovered in it.
yeah, that's great to hear. I think what you mentioned is interesting. Like, I think Guillaume and I, my co-founder and I, we've been working on creative tools for a while, and like that's the kind of stuff we like really care about, like how to build those kind of like super interactive tools. It's not always super
Yeah,
straightforward. But that's one of the reasons we actually studied Liveblocks. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
think
good to
that
hear.
passion really shows.
Oh, thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much all I had in terms of like the questions and stuff. But do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add to this? Anything people should be aware of? Any feedback for us? Feature requests? I don't know. Whatever you have in mind.
Put feature requests in the
Oh yeah, go
in the
for it.
marketing podcast. Yeah. No, I can't think of anything else. I mean, I think we've covered a lot. Um, yeah,
Cool, no
check out
problem.
popstage.com.
Sweet. Great. Well, Grant, thank you so much for taking the time to chat and recording this. Really appreciate it. Love what you're building at PopStage, and yeah, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Steven.
See you later.